Olympic superpower the USA booked their place in the men's draw back in June by winning the North American qualifier. They've come a long way in a short space of time under English coach Mike Friday.
Well, when Nigel asked me to do the job and he said, well, by the way, we're 13th in the world and you've got 12 months to get this Olympic qualification, no pressure, I did ask, well, you could have given me a little bit more time, mate. If I'm honest with you, at the time, I think, like all things in America, they come up with their stats. I think we were given less than 10% chance of qualification according to the scientific stats. So, you know, it was an uphill battle. It was going to be a tall order. I think by the time we got round to NACRA, which was the qualifying tournament, we were deemed to be a 90% chance of qualifying, which is testament really to the hard work and the effort of all the players and what they put into it. They had to change. All we did was gave them the direction and the focus, but they had to make that kind of physical and mental commitment to change. So to achieve that Olympic qualification in the USA is huge.
A key component in the USA's upturn has been the form of speedsters Carlin Isles and Perry Baker, both of whom have converted to rugby from American football.
The Chuckle brothers are as mad as hatters off the pitch. Very, very different, but I think they're both conversion athletes and they've both gone very different journeys. Carlin has taken him 4 years to convert across, where he was actually a real handful last year at times. But he's done all of that in the public eye. And the first 2 years, he made a lot of mistakes. He was ridiculed at times and, you know, pulled apart. He had to get a lot wrong to get it right. But his resilience to stay to task, his commitment to get better every day, his professionalism to do that in the public eye was fantastic. Now, Perry, on the other hand, burst onto the scene last year. Where's this man come from? He'd been learning his game for 5 years, but he'd been learning behind closed doors and working in a very kind of low manner, under the radar, and then he exploded. And he was this wonder thing. But their journeys are very similar. It's taken them 4 or 5 years, they've just done it in very different ways. And I think that's the challenge of a crossover athlete that's got limited or no rugby EQ from their teenage years. I think for USA to kind of become this awakening sleeping giant that everybody talks about is their infrastructure at high school, getting it into the school curriculum, and not to compete with the super sports, but to complement. If it can complement the super sports of NFL, college football, as you know, and basketball, baseball, athletics, then the 98% that don't make it in the NFL or the basketball will have 5 or 6 years of rugby EQ in them, and then all of a sudden you've got an American sportsman. If he can't be NFL, if he can't be NBA, but he can be an Olympian, and that means an Olympic rugby player, then all of a sudden it starts to attract the commercial start of USA, which is so important in sport. And then watch out, world.